Hello friends, and welcome to this video where I show you how to create this pretty little fluted drawing with Caran Neocolor II crayons. So today I wanted to take a bit larger paper than the usual sketchbook, small sketchbook that you see me using a lot on my channel, and I'm having this larger watercolor paper and I am creating a little friendly bird because, as you know, I love birds and on this channel we draw lots of birds, so that's what we'll do also today. And you will see me using one of my favorite art tools, which is of course the Neocolor II crayons. I just love how versatile these are, and on my channel you actually can already now find quite many tutorials, and I share a lot what and how I use these crayons and what I love most about them. So I hope that today's video will also inspire you to take out your water-soluble crayons or watercolors or any medium that is your favorite and maybe create some beautiful bird drawing or painting together with me. So we will first start with my usual approach that we will make kind of very quick and just overall draft so that we know where we want to have each color blocks, and this means that we are sketching the bird and maybe some tree branch or something, some kind of main elements of the picture, and then we'll start working on the background, and that's what you see me doing here. So I will just add loads of different colors to the background, creating kind of impression that there is something interesting happening there, but we won't be focusing on working on the background too much today. So I want to give the bird the kind of a focus point role here, and we will add more details to the bird and the tree branch, but the background will be a bit more blurry, and that's what we are working on here. So first you will see me adding loads of different color on the paper, and then I'm using a large brush and quite a lot of water to mix the colors together and give this impression of a blurry, maybe some green and blue and gray, kind of wintry but not too cold and dark background. Throughout this video you will see some of my favorite techniques. As always, I really enjoy sharing how I like to use these crayons so that maybe you can also find some new inspiration. And this is one way that I really like creating the backgrounds, that I just add loads of different colors and I let them mix on the paper as we add some water here. And that way we can get a kind of beautiful smooth transitions between different colors that they still go really well together. And you can play a bit with your brush and brush strokes as well. This was very important that you have a kind of good quality paper here. So you don't have to have the most expensive one, obviously. You never need to have that in these kinds of sketches, but I like to use a kind of proper watercolor paper for this kind of larger pieces where I know that I'll be using loads of water, because this kind of paper just handles the water so much better and it doesn't buckle around, and it just can handle and take a lot of water. So the paper I'm using today is Fabriano's Artistico. This is the cold pressed watercolor paper. And I think this is a very good option. It's not overly expensive, but it's still good quality paper. But it's totally up to you. Test and try and see what works for you. And if you want to make something smaller scale, go ahead and use your sketchbook. I just felt like using kind of larger watercolor paper today. So what you can see me here is that I'm kind of just adding a bit of color here and there, and I'm using also the wet paint-like consistency that we have on a paper and spread that around. And once we have pretty much the background in the shape we like it, or the colors are there that we like to have there, we'll just leave it be and let it dry, and in the meanwhile we can add the first layer of color to the bird itself. What I like to do here is that I will again add kind of blurry first layer of color to the bird, and then once everything is dried, then we'll continue and start adding details. But this is a very nice kind of good way to get started, just color blocking different areas and exploring the colors really and seeing what works for you. I also really, as you know, I love to mix the colors on a paper, and that's what you see me doing a lot here. So I'm just sketching and adding some color, and then once we add water, then the magic happens, and you never really know, or you kind of know what the outcome will be, but it will still be a pleasant surprise once you activate the colors. And at this stage, it doesn't matter if the colors bleed into one another, that's totally fine. And you will see me kind of correcting parts of this original sketch along the way, and that's also totally fine. So we can build the picture slowly, step by step. That's also one thing that I really love about Neocolor II is that I feel like you have multiple opportunities to save the original piece. So if you are not happy with parts of it, you can fix it and kind of use more layers, and that way, you know, you can save the work. So for example, here you can see that I'm fixing parts of it already and then start working in there. But once we have the first layer together, and at this stage I know that it looks super ugly and weird and there is no real shape here, but that being said, it's totally fine at this stage. And once we have the first layers together, then we will let the paper dry completely and then continue to add more layers. So don't worry if you have that ugly face, that's totally fine. It is part of the process and you just have to keep on working. For this tree branch that the little bird is sitting on, I will be adding different shades of brown. So I have some ochre, some beige, I think maybe raw umber and brown. So I'm just mixing everything a bit together. And then I'm using a flat brush, and with that I am creating kind of nice texture as I mix the colors together. So this is also a good tip, that play with different brushes and see what kind of effects you can create. It really makes a whole different effect if you're using flat brush like this, or if you're using more like soft large round brush. It kind of mixes the colors together a bit differently, and the brush technique makes all the difference. So it's worth it to play with them and see what works for you. For example, I really enjoy using this kind of flat brush technique for trees and these kinds of details where you kind of want to create a bit of stripy effect maybe, but not really stripes. And this is also where the beauty of Neocolor really comes to play, that you can add lots of pigment on paper and then you can use the brush and some water to kind of create the wonderful effects as you go. As said, once you have the first layer together and the colors are there, the kind of color blocking is done, then it's worth it to let your paper dry completely and then start adding the next layer. And for the next layer, what I will do first is work on the background. And you can see here on the right hand side my trusted palette where I like to mix Neocolor II. And the colors I have here are actually some leftovers from my previous work. So I'm just reactivating what I have here. But if you don't have anything like this available, you can just, add some color to whichever palette you like to use. Add some greens, grays, maybe some purple. I think it goes actually really well here, the kind of leftover purples that I have. And maybe also some brown, and make some nice random surprising color mixes. And then you just start adding them to the background, creating this leafy-like effect without actually putting too much effort to details. I really like this technique also for using up the pigment that I've added to the palette and kind of reactivating it again. And that's also the beauty of whichever water-soluble medium you're using, because I really hate to waste any of these precious pigments, and you can easily reactivate the Neocolor IIs that you have on your palette and create this kind of creative background really easily and have a nice variety of different tones. So once that is done, we have our background and we are occasionally happy with it, then it is time to start adding details and more layers to the bird itself. And here you can see me using many different techniques, so I will be working kind of layer on layer, and being at this stage you need to be a bit patient and see what works. I'll be using different colors and adding details, and also I'll be fixing some parts which I'm not super happy with, and that's also something you can, as said, easily do by adding just more color on top of the previous layers. You can see here that I'm adding quite a thick layer of the crayon on the page, and then once I mix things together with some water, it creates this very beautiful, like waxy kind of surface, as it would with these kind of wax crayons. But I think it's just very fascinating the way the colors blend together, and you can get those really smooth transitions. For example, in kind of stomach of the bird or the back, you can see some really beautiful and subtle transitions from one color to another. And I think that's the kind of magic that you can create with crayons like this. You can also see me doing lots of layering for the tree here, and again I really recommend you to test out and see the magic of layering these crayons, even though it might feel that it's a waste of time and a waste of crayon because you are kind of overpowering the previous layers, so you are coloring on top of them and they are not so visible anymore. But then once you activate the crayons and move them a bit around, that way you can also get some of the previous layers visible, and I think that just creates a really beautiful effect. So as said, it's worth testing and playing with these crayons. I think I've said earlier on this channel many times that every time I use these crayons I learn something new, and I'm really excited and fascinated by the opportunities and different kind of things that you can explore and how creative you can be with these. So that's something I really enjoy, and that's what I enjoyed during this painting and drawing as well. What I also really love about this little piece is the kind of contrast of the colors. So you can see the background has very muted colors, this muted greens and browns and grays, and then the bird itself is kind of bright and happy colored. I think that contrast is really fascinating, and it kind of gives you the best of both worlds, and the bird kind of pops out nicely. So I really enjoyed this work and was very happy with the effects that I was able to create. As we proceed with the process, you can see me start adding crayon and no longer activating all the pigment. So for example, for the kind of smaller, thinner branches and kind of details on a bird and details on a tree, I am just adding crayon straight on paper and not activating it with water. And this is again one way to use these crayons, and a wonderful kind of example of the versatility of this medium, that you can really create lots of different kinds of effects really easily. And if you don't want to activate all the pigment, that's totally fine, just as long as you remember it's there and that you're not accidentally adding water on top of it and then starting to spread it around. So I would recommend you to use this effect of not activating and just adding the crayon on the paper just in a later stage of your work, so that you don't have any accidents happening. You can also see me adding some white details by dipping the white crayon very slightly to the water, some clean water, and that way I can release loads of pigment straight on the paper and add those very very effective and strong white details. Let me know in the comments if you have been drawing any birds lately, or if it's a topic you enjoy. I know that there are many of you out there who really enjoy drawing and painting some birds with me, so please join me also today if you are inspired. And I know that it's difficult to share your favorite bird at times, because there might be so many birds you love, but if you have a particular favorite, please let me know. I'd be very happy to hear. Also, share with me if you have any good Neocolor II tips, something that you, or kind of the special way that you enjoy using these crayons. I think it's so much fun to learn from each other and hear how others use these mediums, so let me know. I'd be very happy to hear and have a nice inspiring discussion around the topic. Drawing this bird was such a nice and very calming hour of my life, and I remembered again why it's really important to sit down and enjoy your art, even though you might feel stressed and you might feel that you don't have the time. Just squeeze in a little bit of art time to your day, and I promise that you will probably feel a lot better. At least that's what works for me. I always really enjoy my art sessions, so even though you might feel that you don't have the time, take some time, and I'm pretty sure that you will feel better afterwards. If you have enjoyed this video, and I hope that you have, but if you have enjoyed it, please give it a like, and if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please do so. I have loads of fun Neocolor II nature drawings coming your way, and there's also kind of long playlist already of my Neocolor II related videos, so check them out if you haven't been following my art journey for a longer time yet. I hope that you will have a wonderful week and wonderful day filled with art, or at least artistic inspiration and thoughts if you don't have the time to create something, and please squeeze some time for yourself to enjoy your art. I will see you very soon in my next video, and until then, enjoy your own art journey, and as always, I will see you very soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.